Hi, and welcome to Sacred Crossings, where we talk about life and death transition. My name is Michelle Ledbetter, and this channel was born from a passion. I am a hospice nurse of 20 plus years, and I love helping people transition in that aspect as far as from form to non physical, but also in life because we go through transitions. And I had a near death experience, altered reality experience a little over 6 years ago that woke me up to a whole new way of seeing life and living. And I am here to share that with you. So let's get started. This is one of my new endeavors. I have been creating this channel, and this is very new. And I realized that I needed to start kind of at the beginning to let you guys know how I have gotten here. So, again, my name is Michelle Ledbetter. I am a spiritual being having a human experience just like you. And I'm also labeled as a mom of two beautiful daughters, a grandmother, they call me Yaya, for beautiful souls that are in my DNA, and then two bonus grandchildren that are just as precious and beautiful. Um, I've been a nurse for a little over 30 years, hospice nurse for a little over 20 years. And I had a altered reality experience, near death near death experience about 6 years ago that completely changed my view of life. So I am here to share that story with you. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about who I was prior to this accident. You know, how I presented in the world. But in my early years, my early formative years, I was brought up in a household where they, bless their hearts, they were not very connected to their own divine light. And I was raised in a very abusive, physically and emotionally, home where love was never something that was exampled for me, and or should I say true unconditional love was never exampled for me. And I came away with a very distorted view of life and connection, based on my early formative years. With that being said, let me go ahead and tell you that I was functioning pretty normal, or my group was pretty much just like me. And so I was doing all those things they say that you need to do to become uh, a good human being, making a difference in the world. And so I got married and I went to nursing school and I did all the traditional things. And then 18 years into my marriage, my skeleton started to come out of the woodwork. And I did not even know that's what was happening. The way it felt to me as I was um, living this thing called life, I felt very inauthentic. I was running with very gossipy women. Um, I was doing life like everyone else that was around me at that time. But there was something that was missing. And I set out on a journey to find it. And I looked in every nook and cranny and really made some really poor decisions looking for this thing that was supposed to make me feel whole. That's who I went into this. That's who I was when I went into this accident. I was traveling as a nurse, hospice nurse, moving from Montana to Texas for a new assignment, and I was trying to outrun a snowstorm. Ultimately, I had an accident where I went off an embankment, and when I came down, I had a L1 burst fracture, a broken spine, and a severe closed head injury. I woken to paramedics getting me out of the car, or attempting to get me out of the car. And when I woke, I was very kind of confused. I didn't know what was happening. Quickly, I realized that there had been an accident. I thought of my little dog, but I had this profound sense of peace. And the EMTs that were helping me were looking angelic. They were so amazing, so kind. So I was in and out of lucidity at that point. I don't remember getting to the first facility where they did imaging and found that my broken spine was not stable and they were going to need to do urgent surgery. And again, the feeling of peace and comfort was overwhelming. And you would think normally I would have probably been batshit crazy out of my mind, but I wasn't. It wasn't until that they said they might have to impound my little dog that I started to feel a little bit of, human, normal, scary stuff come in. Then this angelic nurse comes out of nowhere. She doesn't know me. She saw the anxiety that I was having about this dog being taken away after we had just gone through. And she stepped in and said, I've got you. I'm going to take your little dog and you are going to recover and I will keep her until you get better. I really saw the godness in her and I saw it in the paramedics. Fast forward, the surgeon tells me that we have to move to a trauma unit. We don't have time. We got to get the surgery done. And it was now probably 10, 11 o'clock at night. And he shared with me that he'd done like 10 surgeries. And I had another little panic moment where, oh my gosh, he's done all these surgeries and he's getting ready to go into my spine. But I also had a knowing that it was going to be okay. It was a very odd feeling. I don't remember going into surgery and I don't remember the next 5 days. And so this is where my altered reality near death experience happened. I don't know exactly where. Time is elusive. It seemed like it happened the whole time. And it seemed like I was like in and out within minutes, but it was actually 5 days later. So where what happened is I presented in this warehouse setting. It was cold, it was dark, there was no color, everything was the prominent hue was gray. I felt the presence of my children behind me. I turned to look at them and invite them into the warehouse with me. I didn't know what I was doing, but when I turned to look at them, although there were no words exchanged, there was this look and a dialogue that went something like this in my brain. You messed this up and we're really tired. We're not doing this with you. They turned and walked out this big heavy metal door, and I panicked. The fear started to rise. Abandonment started to rise. It was crazy and it was intense. And I went over to the window. I looked out the window to see where they were going, and they were just walking into this barren land that looked like it had been cleared by heavy equipment. I turned back towards the room, although there was not really a room. It was just a feeling of warehouse, cold, damp. There was like a moldy smell to it. And again, no color. Everything was very gray toned. I start to see this film of my life, and I know immediately it's me. Um, but I'm not aware enough to make the connection, if that makes sense. I don't know where I am. I know that I'm watching my childhood. My childhood in detail, back totally in it again. The emotion, the fear, the confusion, what is happening. I move through these horrendous scenes in my timeline, and the fear that consumes me is not describable. I started to recognize that maybe I was in hell, and I see a film of a little girl, and in her film, I step into her spirit body, and I'm still in my emotion in my spirit body. Her young childhood was beyond horrific. I thought mine was challenging and very hard and the worst in the world. Hers was worse. And then I saw a little boy and the same thing. And I'm not going to go into the details of it because it's so unpleasant. What's happening inside of me is the fear, the abandonment, the shame, the compassion, the every freaking emotion except for love was who I was. I was electrified with fucked up energy and fucked up emotion. I started to feel a warmth at my feet, and it started to move up my body. And as it did, I felt forced to look up. And when I looked up, it was something like a ceiling tiles, like on the warehouse ceiling, and they slowly started to lift. And when they lifted, this brilliant light that had a hue of yellow and orange. It's not a light that I've ever seen. I've never seen it in real life, but this light started to pour in. And because I was so electrified with fear, I thought, this is it. I'm in hell, and that lava is getting ready to come in and burn my backside and the rest of me. When the fear was so intense I couldn't stand it anymore, I realized I was laying in a hospital bed. And this is right on the heels. Like, it's still there, but I am also coming into this reality that we call reality. Look over and I see a beautiful African American lady sitting there, and I'm like, who are you? She said, I'm here to help you. And I was like, oh, good. I was like, help me. Can you help me? And then she blended into my sister, and I was like, oh, it's family. So I just please help me. And although I couldn't tell her what was happening, I realized, wait, what is happening? I was so confused. Come to find out, as I am moving through all the trauma reels that I went through, and there were trauma reels from when I was older and the things that I did that hurt other people, and I felt how that felt, and it was just it was awful. There's it's like the worst thing I've ever experienced in my whole life, and um, I couldn't look at it after the accident. After I started to get better, I started to come out of it. Um, I got home. I didn't have a job. I My best friend was dying of cancer, and I was recovering from this freaking accident and this trauma brain. And that trauma brain was as hard, if not harder, than getting to a place where I could walk again and participate in life again. I went down the shitter. I knew that that had happened. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to look at it. And it just kind of festered quietly in the background. And I got addicted to the pain medication that I was taking. I started drinking. Every time the feeling would come up, I could not handle it. I was not good at feeling emotion in the first place from my upbringing. I did not know how to process emotions. And so I was one that would take alcohol or whatever it took to take the edge off, right? Um, and it had gotten to a point where 2 years I did this nonsense until one day I went to drink alcohol because I was going to watch my granddaughter, and I so wanted to be present with her and not in pain. I was still having a lot of back pain at 2 years. And so I drank a little bit, and it worked. And I drank a little bit more, and then I did the classic, I don't even know how much I had to drink. And that turned out to be a terrible ordeal. By God's grace and my daughter's amazing self, I I was given a second chance, and that truly was the lowest of low. I was so ashamed. I was so broken. I was so didn't know what was happening, and so I waddled in misery for a week or so, and then I realized this is it. I don't know what the fuck to do to get to a place where I can be happy in this lifetime. I was forced to sit with myself, and I did not. I came up in a Catholic upbringing, and then Baptist, and then so I was exposed to Baptist and Catholic as an early child, but I didn't turn to that in that direction because I had an aversion through my broken lens of religion and God, and how could a God that was hated me also want to take me through that? Like, it was just distorting to me. And so I didn't look in the Bible, but I thought, okay, the next thing I can do is just surrender, and I will start getting quiet. And I started meditating, and I didn't even really know it was meditating that I was doing, but I because I had this idea of what meditation was, but all of a sudden I started to get this information that would come in from a source that I now know to be God, but at the time I didn't know. I believe God and angels and spirit, and they're all in that divine energetic flow, and I was able to tap into that in this place of complete surrender. And the first thing that I was prompted to do was to ask myself, honestly and with an open heart, what was that experience that you don't want to look at trying to teach me? And what and how, or how can I see that situation differently? So I asked it with an open heart. And through the years, the answers started to come to what I was viewing in my altered reality. And basically, what happened was the two children that I saw towards the end, I was in this meditation and I walked back through that. And as I am moving through it, it's much softer than it was when I was in that experience. But, I don't know if it was because I had been there before or if the light of love was holding me. The light of love was holding me. And I walked back through it and recognized that those were my abusers. And this love that I did not even know existed began to rise in me, and it filled me with such compassion and love that all I could do was extend it to them. And I saw them differently from that moment on. I saw them no different than me, and they had their own childhood trauma that had left them with a very skewed view of reality. And in all the inappropriateness and all the dysfunction, they did the best they could with the story that they believed about life and the brokenness that they had gotten trapped in. And I recognized I had gotten trapped in my own brokenness. Life started to show up magically. The more I got into this, the more I got the lessons, the more I was given I was shown that the lens from which I was viewing life was distorted based on my upbringing, and it actually had served me to be disconnected from people, from not trusting. It served my safety at that time, but it became the view from which I saw the world. And so I did not do well with connecting with people. I did not do well with being authentic because I needed approval from something outside of me. And I know that I'm no different because our conditioning kind of teaches us that. So as I have moved through this, oh my goodness, I'm going through some challenges right now, but what I believe is that it is being presented to me because I'm being asked to live what it is that I learned. And the basic takeaways here are: you are not separate from the source that created all of this. You are part of that life spark that breathes us and blooms flowers and is in all living things. That is God. We are not separate from that. We've just forgotten our light because of the conditioning of our journey, of our upbringing. And when you can connect to that light, when you can have a direct connection to the God source energy that we are so divinely inseparable from, when you can get out of your classic teachings that tell you there has to be a third person that can get you there, you are it. It is within you. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that our soul that is housed in this physical form is who we truly are. And the life experience that we're having, the only thing that we're taking back when we leave this physical form is love. And so all of the misguided beliefs that we've bought into, or the way we end up showing up based on wounds from our past and not even recognizing it, those things had to happen so that life itself can experience it all. And so we are being asked to remember who we are, even when it's hard. And this time right now, it's challenging a lot of people to look a little deeper. The answer's within. It's nowhere out there. The connection that you have to divine, the connection that you have to God is where the answer is. And it's been with you the whole time. So we end up having to lift up the layers of the mountains, move the mountains that we've put in front of us to protect ourselves, not even knowing that we did it. It really, truly is a subconscious, not even aware. We have to move those over. And what I recognize now is that light that was coming through that I was so very afraid of. I was so afraid of God in real life. I was so afraid of life itself in real life, that was truly God shining its love and light onto those deep seated wounds that were in the pit of my soul. They were being brought up for me to look at them through the eyes of love, or some say through the Christ consciousness. My story that I had told myself all my life that kept me blocked from connecting with people lifted because I saw it for the truth of what it was. Those people that had hurt me anywhere in my lifetime, they were too extensions of life force energy. They too are directly, divinely connected to God, and they're doing their journey. And the fact that somebody's playing a villain in your story, they're your greatest teacher. They play one of the biggest parts. Um, the all those events that happen to us that we become victim to are happening to help us remember who we are. And so I know it beyond a shadow of a doubt from my own experience. It has changed who I am. I'm so grateful to be living in with no job right now, in this moment, and watching how that my life is unfolding now that I am absolutely tapped into the divinity, energy, love of God that I am. So I thank you so much for hearing my story. I've been out of work for a month, and things are coming that I would have never guessed. I just finished a book. We're in the process of wrapping up a proposal letter and sending it off to literary agents. I worked on that book since 2007, and only in this time that I've had with no job have I been able to finish it. So that's a gift there. I have been invited onto multiple podcasts. I've been invited to participate as a participant in the IANS group that meets annually, and that's the International Association of Near-Death Studies. And I would have never, ever imagined, I would have never written this ticket for me, but I don't know exactly where all this is going, but I am staying connected to my heart. I'm staying connected to life. I am falling into my faith, knowing that life has got me and wants me to be the best version of myself. And I'm trusting that whatever is happening, I'm just taking the leads and I'm moving with it. So we have the book in the works. We have podcasts in the works. We have a speaking engagement in the works. And we also have another little secret that I'm not ready to reveal, but I'm working on a new business that I'm going to bring to the Tallahassee area. And that seems to just be flowing so naturally. It's not been hard, not one bit. So I think that that's a direction that I'm going to. So I'm dialing in a couple different things. I will reveal what it is as soon as I get myself grounded and have a business plan together. But I'm just enjoying the ride, and that is crazy. Like, I should be crazy insane right now. In my old life, I would have been drunk in the bottle and probably passed out. I'm so grateful that that is not the case anymore. But I want to share what I have because it's available to you. It's always been there. It's right there with you, and you don't even know it. So thank you for letting me share my story. Again, we are here to talk about transition of any type, whether it's in life, whether it's in death. Lots of information I have to share with you on all of those things. Please put some questions into the comments so that I can get some ideas on what it is that you guys would like for me to present to you, and to help you move into being the best version of yourself. And let me tell you, my suggestion is those things that we need to look at, if we don't get them looked at while we're in this physical form, it's going to come before we pass. And I believe that if we can get that it worked out now, our passing is so much more magical. And know that life does not end. It is eternal. Nothing can be created or destroyed. It only changes form. I've got some amazing stories to share with you about how to tap into your loved one's energy. This is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm so grateful. So thank you for joining me on Sacred Crossings. You guys have a great day. Until next time, please leave comments. Please like and share if you think it helped you. Bye for now.